Have you ever walked into a room and thought, wow, this wall is stunning, but somehow you still felt a little overwhelmed? Like your brain got busy, but your luck didn't. That's the quiet danger of overdecorating a wall. It doesn't scream bad feng shui. It whispers it. You see, in feng shui, a wall can either hold energy steady or suffocate it slowly, especially when it's packed with stuff that looks good but doesn't feel right anymore. And here's the twist. Even the prettiest gallery wall can quietly block your wealth, mess with your focus, and tangle up your money flow without you realizing it. Sometimes, it's not the messiest room that blocks your luck. It's the prettiest one. If this kind of wisdom speaks to you, if you've ever felt like you're doing everything to stay afloat, and it still isn't flowing, thank you for being here. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, or even drop a comment below. It helps YouTube know you're part of this quiet shift. Let's talk about the one thing nobody tells you about decorating. How too much on the wall can block your cash flow, drain your clarity, and make your home feel heavier, even when everything seems perfectly styled. Because in the world of feng shui, even a well-meaning frame can hold back your fortune if it's placed without purpose. You don't lose energy all at once. You lose it slowly, through beautiful things that take up just a little too much space, and through moments where you say, I'll fix it later, but later never comes. Her name is Lisa Morgan, a 52-year-old graphic designer living just outside Nashville. She's creative, warm, and honestly, her home looks like a Pinterest dream. Especially the hallway wall. That thing had it all. Vintage frames, a shelf with little candles, quotes in wood, mirrors, family photos, a few quirky signs she picked up on vacation. It was charming, personal, full of soul, her friend Annie said. And yet, the hallway had started to feel heavy. Lisa didn't even walk down that way unless she had to. She'd grab mail, turn fast. That stretch of wall, no matter how pretty, made her feel squeezed. It wasn't just visual clutter. It was energy congestion. In feng shui, walls are not just surfaces. They're energy anchors. If they're too busy, they stop qi from moving. They hold conversations that never finish. They trap feelings that don't breathe. That's what Lisa's wall was doing. Each frame, beautiful on its own, added a tiny bit of noise, until it wasn't inspiring anymore. It was exhausting. She didn't notice until her work started feeling weird too. Clients dropped off. New projects felt fuzzy. Money that used to come in on the 1st of the month now dragged until the 10th. She brushed it off. Maybe it's the economy. Maybe it's just burnout. But every day, walking by that wall, her gut whispered, this doesn't feel right anymore. And one night, while scrolling TikTok half asleep, she found a feng shui video about walls that block lucky flow. She didn't even know that was a thing, but it hit hard. Too hard to ignore. In feng shui terms, she had built a qi trap. A perfectly curated one, but a trap nonetheless. The wall sat near her center hallway, one of the home's most sensitive energy lines. And by cramming it with décor, she slowed the entire cash flow loop. In feng shui, this is called overactivation with imbalance. Too much yang, visual stimulation, not enough yin, space to rest. The energy had no room to move, and neither did her abundance. The fix wasn't extreme. It started with one small shift. She removed a shelf, let go of 3 picture frames, took down the live, laugh, love sign, finally. Then, instead of replacing it, she left a pocket of empty space. And that's when the air felt easier, softer. Her hallway didn't just look better, it felt lighter. 3 days later, a former client emailed back with a new project. By the next week, she had 2 invoices paid early. Sometimes, to restart money flow, you don't add more. You take just one thing away. Here's a little trick Lisa uses now. Every time she buys something new for the wall, she removes one item first. No negotiation. Just one in, one out. That's her lucky wall rule. She also lights a candle near the edge knot, the center of the hallway shelf. That tiny glow keeps chi moving. Not in a rush, just in quiet, steady motion. The wall was never ugly, Lisa told Annie. It was just too full. Like I was decorating my energy instead of letting it breathe. And maybe that's the thing. A wall doesn't have to be loud to block your luck. It just has to stop the energy from turning around. Sometimes energy doesn't need to be redesigned. It just needs to exhale. She also joked that the wall used to look like a scrapbook exploded. Now it's just a nice exhale with better lighting. When your walls start to breathe, your money remembers how to move. Clarity begins where clutter takes a break. Sometimes, the energy isn't blocked by chaos. It's frozen in ambition. The kind you swore would light a fire inside you, but ended up just sitting on the wall, watching you feel stuck. Lisa thought she was getting better. After removing part of the overcrowded gallery wall in the hallway, her home felt easier, lighter. The kind of light you only notice when it's been missing for too long. But then came the part she didn't want to admit. The one section she'd been ignoring for months. The one that had goals. It wasn't messy. It was organized. Clean, in fact. A vision board pinned up with care. Underneath it, a printed affirmation about wealth. Next to that, a checklist titled Big Cash Month, September. Which September? 2019. On a dusty clip, a photo of a beach in Positano. She never booked that trip. The deposit sat in her savings account, then got swallowed by something else. At first, Lisa thought, well, at least it's motivating. But over time, it started to feel like the energy around that wall had slowed to a crawl. She couldn't explain it. It didn't feel wrong. But it didn't feel alive either. The hallway wasn't loud or chaotic. It just felt emotionally cold-like, an idea that stopped breathing. And that's the thing about Feng Shui. Energy doesn't always crash into you. Sometimes it just fades. Little by little. Until one day, you realize your money feels flat. You sit at your desk and don't feel clear. You keep trying, but nothing lands. Lisa didn't realize her wealth flow had slowed. Until she caught herself skipping bills she used to pay early. Or watching cash come in then disappear just as fast. That wall was a trap. Not because of clutter, but because of frozen projection energy. That's what Feng Shui calls it when a space holds old intentions. Dreams, goals, plans that haven't been updated. They look good, but they act like anchors. Heavy, unmoving. And over time, they trap not just Chubut, your emotional breath. Lisa wasn't breathing near that wall anymore. She was holding her breath and pretending to feel inspired. She didn't want to erase the past, but she also couldn't deny it. Her goals corner was no longer about what she wanted. It was about what hadn't happened. And every time she walked by it, the energy said, "You failed." One morning, she caught herself doing something small but telling. She avoided turning on the hallway light, just so she wouldn't see too much. That's when it clicked. If the space that holds your dreams makes you shrink, you're not manifesting. You're mourning. Lisa took action that same afternoon. She didn't tear it all down. She started gently. Took the vision board off the wall and placed it in a drawer. Not to throw it away, just to give it space to breathe. Then she aerially cleaned it. Not just dust. She opened the window nearby, lit a sandalwood incense stick, brought in a small jade plant alive, humble and slightly crooked. She placed it on the floor beside the wall, just low enough to say, "It's okay to begin small again." Over the next few days, the space began to feel different. Not louder, just less heavy. She wasn't avoiding the light anymore. And funny enough, her PayPal account buzzed with an unexpected client payment. Out of nowhere, like the energy had just remembered her again. Studies in environmental psychology say that visual reminders of unfulfilled goals can trigger a mental fatigue loop. The brain doesn't register those images as neutral, it sees them as unfinished business. And when you live with too many of those reminders, you unconsciously stay in a state of low-level pressure. In Feng Shui, that's called qi stagnation tied to psychological repetition. It doesn't matter how good your goals are. If the energy around them is stale, they stop calling abundance in. They just replay noise. So Lisa made a rule. One goal, one space. If it starts feeling like pressure, she rewrites it. Now her only visible goal lives on her kitchen whiteboard. It says, "Be in flow, not force." She rewrites it weekly. Not to be productive, to stay present. And she added one more little trick. A tiny wind chimney on the wall, but on the doorknob at the hallway's edge. So every time she enters that space, it sings a reminder. You're allowed to change direction. Goals don't expire, but the energy we attach to them does. Money plus energy flow sentence kit. When your dreams get air, your money gets movement. She told Annie over lunch. My vision board started to feel like a report card I forgot to turn in. I swear it grated me every time I passed it. If you've ever pinned a dream to your wall and then avoided eye contact with it for weeks, you're not alone. That's not laziness. That's energy asking for a reset. Not a full teardown, just a breath. So if this story felt a little too real, pause, scroll down, and share. What part of your home might be holding pressure instead of potential? Your comment might just help someone else realize they're not stuck. They're just frozen. And Feng Shui can help them thaw. Wealth doesn't just show up where things sparkle. It shows up where energy gets to rest. And sometimes, the most expensive corner in your house is the one quietly pushing abundance away. Lisa had cleared the clutter. She'd removed frozen dreams. Her hallway felt lighter, her breath deeper. But there was still that one wall. The one she called her statement wall. Deep green paint, Gold leaf frames. 3 expensive art pieces she bought during her best financial year. A sleek mirror hung in the center, catching the afternoon light just right. It was beautiful, curated, styled for guests. But every time she passed by it, her chest felt tight. The wall didn't speak to her anymore. It performed. The room felt like it was dressed for someone else, polished but cold. She didn't want to admit it yet, but this wall, the one meant to attract money, had started quietly pushing it away. In Feng Shui, energy moves best in places that feel honest. Lisa's wealth wall wasn't honest anymore. It was made up of things that used to matter. One painting reminded her of a contract she regretted signing. Another frame came from a gallery she'd never step into again. Even the mirror, though beautiful, reflected the part of the room she never used. Instead of calling in wealth and lucky flow, it kept echoing a version of success that no longer matched who she was. There's a Feng Shui principle. Energy returns to what it recognizes. And that wall didn't recognize her anymore. Her money energy started doing the same, circling, pausing, but never staying. Lisa had built a wall of expectation. It whispered, "You should still be her." The version of her who hosted events, who landed clients without trying, who made cash feel easy. But Lisa had changed. Her work had changed. Her pace had slowed, and her values had shifted. The wall wasn't just a decor choice. It was a pressure portal. She wasn't decorating for wealth. She was performing for it. She felt a strange ache when she looked at it. Not because it was wrong, but because it wasn't her anymore. It was like wearing designer heels in your own kitchen, when your feet just want to breathe. Lisa had built a space that looked rich, but didn't feel wealthy. And in Feng Shui, true abundance only lands where there's congruence between what you show and what you feel. She had been staging a version of wealth. Instead of building a space where her money could feel safe, soft, invited. When energy feels at home, it stays. When it feels judged, it leaves quietly. There's a principle in environmental psychology called emotional dissonance. When what you see and what you feel don't match, the brain interprets it as stress. That means a beautiful space that doesn't feel true can slowly drain energy, clarity, and even confidence. You won't always feel anxious, but you'll feel tired, unmotivated, unsure. In Feng Shui, this is known as visual conflict resonance, where symbolic items no longer match the energy of the person. When that happens, qi can't rest. It bounces. And so does money. Lisa didn't want to destroy the wall. She wanted to reconnect with it. She started by taking everything down. Not to erase, just to listen. Each piece she held told her a story. Some brought back gratitude. Others brought back grief. And that alone told her what to keep. She chose a soft terracotta paint. Warm, earthy. Something that grounded instead of impressed. She replaced the sharp mirror with a round one, small, slightly imperfect but full of light. She hung up one art piece, a print from a local artist she'd met at a craft market. It showed an open window and a tree full of oranges. On a tiny shelf below, she placed a ceramic bowl with 3 coins she'd found while clearing her junk drawer. Not gold, not fancy, but real. Her new wealth altar didn't shout. It invited. She lights a tea candle next to it once a week. That's her ritual now. Quiet. True. Turns out, My richest wall started with 3 dusty nickels and an impulse to tell the truth. Lisa says the wall still gets compliments, but not the, "Wow, so elegant" type. More like, "This feels calm." She laughs about it now. I used to decorate for people I didn't even like. Now, I decorate for energy I actually want to live with. When your space stops performing, your money starts arriving. Have you ever created a space to look like money, but deep down, it never felt like wealth? You're not alone. So many of us chase aesthetics. But Feng Shui doesn't care how it looks. It cares how it breathes. If this story made something shift in you, scroll down and share. What part of your home is ready to feel like the real you again? Sometimes, all it takes is a different mirror and a different kind of light. Not every heavy wall is filled with stuff. Some are heavy because they hold too much of your past, your guilt, your almosts. And in Feng Shui, even one corner that never forgives can block the lucky energy trying to reach you. Lisa's hallway was healing. Her wealth wall had softened, but there was still one spot she avoided: the wall outside her bedroom. It didn't look like much, just a few photos. An old framed calendar from a big launch that didn't go as planned. A certificate she earned 5 years ago that no one ever asked about. A thank you card from a client who ghosted her 3 months later. She didn't put those things there to decorate. She put them there to prove something. To herself. To time. To momentum that never quite came back. But that wall didn't feel like success. It felt unresolved. Mood shift kit. That space didn't hold memories. It held unfinished conversations with life. She didn't cry about it. She just walked faster every time she passed it. That's how she knew this wasn't just decor. This was grief pretending to be motivation. In Feng Shui, energy reads everything, even things we think we've buried. That wall wasn't about celebration. It was a shrine to what could have been. And energy, especially wealth and lucky, flow gets choked in places like that. Because chi needs clarity to move, not lingering stories. The calendar? A reminder of a launch that broke even. The certificate? Something she was proud of but no longer used. The card? A kindness followed by silence. Each item held its own mini energy loop. Unclosed. Unforgiven. And every loop chipped away at her confidence quietly. Lisa was building a shrine to herself, but not the whole version. Just the version who almost made it. It wasn't a wall of failure. It was a wall of should have worked. And that's where it hurt. Every time she felt like creating, she'd glance at that wall and feel smaller, like she still had something to prove. That's the most dangerous kind of wall in Feng Shui. The one that looks fine, but bleeds belief. It was like having a drawer full of jeans that used to fit, but don't anymore, and keeping them just to feel bad in the morning. Lisa had created a wall of emotional maybes. It blocked her confidence. It slowed her thinking. It dimmed her energy. That wall wasn't letting money or clarity come in. It was telling both, try again later. Energy doesn't move through guilt. It waits for forgiveness. In neuroscience, there's something called negative memory tagging. It means the brain remembers an item as more emotionally important than it is if it's attached to failure or shame. In Feng Shui, this creates micro-energetic delays. Each time Lisa walked past that wall, her subconscious reprocessed events she thought she had moved on from. And her body, especially her nervous system, felt it. Even if her words didn't say it out loud. She wasn't just walking by a wall. She was reliving a loop. Lisa didn't erase the wall in one day. She began by unplugging the calendar. Then she sat with the card, read it one last time, and placed it in a keepsake box. The certificate? She scanned it, saved it, and let go of the frame. She chose a new image to replace it. A print of a river flowing around stones. Then she brought in something she'd never tried before. A wind spinner. Small, metal. It catches air from the hallway window. Every time it moves, it whispers, "Keep flowing." And beneath it, she placed a tray of salt and rice. A Feng Shui trick for absorbing old emotional debris. She changes the salt every full moon. It's not a superstition. It's a soft, private reset. It's like emotional Swiffering. For stuff I didn't even know was dusty. Lisa says she doesn't rush past that wall anymore. Sometimes she even pauses there. Not to remember the hard stuff, but to feel proud of how far her energy has come. She doesn't decorate for success now. She decorates for release. Your past can't block your money if your space doesn't let it stay. Not every heavy wall is filled with stuff. Some are heavy because they hold too much of your past, your guilt, your almosts. And in Feng Shui, even one corner that never forgives can block the lucky energy trying to reach you. Lisa's hallway was healing. Her wealth wall had softened. But there was still one spot she avoided. The wall outside her bedroom. It didn't look like much. Just a few photos. An old framed calendar from a big launch that didn't go as planned. A certificate she earned 5 years ago that no one ever asked about. A thank you card from a client who ghosted her 3 months later. She didn't put those things there to decorate. She put them there to prove something. To herself. To time. To momentum that never quite came back. But that wall didn't feel like success. It felt unresolved. Mood shift kit. That space didn't hold memories. It held unfinished conversations with life. She didn't cry about it. She just walked faster every time she passed it. That's how she knew this wasn't just decor. This was grief pretending to be motivation. In Feng Shui, energy reads everything. Even things we think we've buried. That wall wasn't about celebration. It was a shrine to what could have been. And energy, especially wealth and lucky, flow gets choked in places like that. Because chi needs clarity to move. Not lingering stories. The calendar? A reminder of a launch that broke even. The certificate? Something she was proud of but no longer used. The card? A kindness followed by silence. Each item held its own mini energy loop. Unclosed. Unforgiven. And every loop chipped away at her confidence quietly. Lisa was building a shrine to herself, but not the whole version. Just the version who almost made it. It wasn't a wall of failure. It was a wall of should have worked. And that's where it hurt. Every time she felt like creating, she'd glance at that wall and feel smaller, like she still had something to prove. That's the most dangerous kind of wall in Feng Shui. The one that looks fine, but bleeds belief. It was like having a drawer full of jeans that used to fit, but don't anymore, and keeping them just to feel bad in the morning. Lisa had created a wall of emotional maybes. It blocked her confidence. It slowed her thinking. It dimmed her energy. That wall wasn't letting money or clarity come in. It was telling both, try again later. Energy doesn't move through guilt. It waits for forgiveness. Environmental neuroscience calls this sensory non-participation. When a zone of your home lacks detail, your brain stops registering it as part of your environment. You literally stop seeing it, but your nervous system still feels the absence. In Feng Shui, this creates a qi blackout, a zone where nothing grows, nothing moves, and over time, it pulls the surrounding energy into low engagement mode. Lisa hadn't noticed it, but her eating habits had changed. She ate faster, skipped breakfast, Saturday facing away from that space. She wasn't blocked. She was disconnected. Lisa didn't go shopping. She went into her art bin and pulled out a canvas she had half-painted 2 years ago. She finished it. Didn't perfect, it just finished it. She hung it on that wall. Then she wrote one sentence in charcoal on the frame's bottom edge. "I'm still here." She placed a selenite wand above the frame to clear stale energy, then taped one simple red string on the wall's right corner. Not for tradition, for energy marking. A signal. This space is awake now. Finally, she placed a single citrine stone on the table, aligned with the painting. 3 days later, she noticed her breath changed while eating. Longer. Deeper. She sat still for a while, and for the first time, the space didn't feel empty. It felt present. I finally feng shuied the most haunted ghost in my house, procrastination. Now, Lisa laughs when people compliment that wall. "It's not my best painting," she says, "but it's the first one I finished just to say, done is enough." She eats slower now. And sometimes, after lunch, she sits quietly and just looks at it. Not for inspiration, not for style, just to let energy land. Energy moves fastest through what you've finally made peace with. If there's one thing Feng Shui keeps showing us, it's that energy doesn't just respond to what's beautiful. It responds to what's honest, to what's open, to what's ready. Your home holds the quiet truth about how you've been treating your money, how your energy's been moving, and what's been stuck for too long. The walls aren't just background. They're mirrors. And sometimes, they're the only ones brave enough to tell you what you haven't been willing to hear. So, if this journey sparked something in you, a corner you've avoided, a pattern you've outgrown, a shift you're finally ready to start, don't rush to fix it all. Just pick one place and let it breathe again. That's how Feng Shui begins. That's how lucky flow finds you. And that's how money remembers the way back in. If this kind of wisdom hits home for you, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe so you don't miss the next shift. And drop a comment below, telling us what wall in your life is finally ready to change. Your space speaks. Wisdom listens.